I have had people who have tried to make sales and tried to be salespeople and were too shy to ask for the sale, and that gets tough because you need to be willing to do that. So a little bit more about promotion. That's that market communication part of the piece, and PR for public relations. PR can also stand for press releases, and if you can get free news about your events, your activities, what you're doing with your products and your customers, that is really, really valuable. And it can be tough. It happens sometimes just without you hardly even knowing it, but sometimes when you work at it the hardest, it is the toughest. And getting to know the business writer for the local paper, if you're in a bigger town, can be valuable. Sponsoring events. So I'm thinking of a variety of things, and one of them that happens here in this town is the Ag tour with the Chamber of Commerce, and they go out to some of the local agricultural producers and do some touring of what's going on, and that can be a lot of fun for both parties, the participants and the sponsors. Drawings, contests, and giveaways, and when we talk about social media, there's some things happening there that are driving some positive social media exposure. Speaking as a guest expert, of course, can be valuable, and participating in community organizations, and I have that bolded up. Things like the Chamber of Commerce, maybe your church, being out there where people are and helping people understand what you do. Then there's the paid advertising. Print, broadcast, radio, TV, cable, websites, signage, and I think we've got a poll at this time. Are you ready for that, Colette?
Yes, if you move to the next slide.
Ah, I guess.
Okay. So I will launch the poll. So here it is. Where do you get the best return for your advertising investment? Print media, radio and television, signs, website, social media, and or email, the yellow pages. So a third of our participants have voted. Half of our participants have voted. 2/3. So I think if one more person votes, we'll get 100%. I'll give it a couple more seconds before I close the poll. Okay, I'm going to close the poll and share the results. So here you are. About 20% said print media, nobody for radio and TV, 40% signs, and 40% website, social media, and email, and no one in the yellow pages.
Okay, and we do have a pretty substantial number of farms listed in our yellow pages here in the Lewiston area, although I doubt very few of them are selling retail. And that is why people are not going to the yellow pages anymore for that kind of information, although people are going to the internet. And there's one little catch here, that if you do not have a yellow pages listing, you are not going to be on any of those directories that are on the internet. So that requires that you have a web page and then register your web page with those directories. So I'm thinking about yellowpages.com, and the list goes on and on. So if you look for some of the farms in your area, let's say some of the bigger ones, and it comes up with these directories like Deck Snows, and again it goes on and on. You can register yourself with those folks if you have a telephone listing that they pick up. So how do these big farms get listed in the Yellow Pages? Well, it's because they have a business telephone probably out in their shop or maybe in their office, and that is a separate line from their personal line, and it depends on where you're at, what company you deal with, and maybe whether you want to be bolded or whatever. But the that business telephone landline with a Yellow Page listing, not an advertisement but just a listing, is probably going to cost you in the range of between $50 and $100 a month. If you're a real small operation, that isn't going to pay you back. But there are ways to get cheap web pages, and then you can go list yourself with those directories, and that helps give you links back to your website, and it helps your place get found by people who might be looking for what you're selling. And those Google Places is another one where you want to get your farm, if you want people to find you. Maybe you don't want them to find you, but if you want them to find you, Google Places is another place to go register your website. You have to get you have to register with Google Plus and things like that, but it's all free. And then they will either call you, or if you have that business listing, or send you a postcard that gives you a password you go in and verify, so that not just anybody can claim your place. And it works. It helps bring you up on the search engines. It helps people who might be looking in a specific place for a farm stand or a fruit orchard where they can pick or whatever it is you're selling. They are using their smartphones to look in their area for those kinds of things, and it's a very economical way to market, particularly to the younger generations. So this chart we're looking at right now is where people are getting their news and information. And you can see radio on the far right is actually a very low place. The television is the highest place for all generations, particularly the older folks. Then they talk about the internet, and again, the younger folks, it's that's where they are, and that number is going up and up. And then the newspaper is for the older folks and us baby boomers who still read the newspaper every day. Yet the newspaper and television and radio advertising are very expensive. But if you have any computer skills at all, you can build your own website, and it probably won't cost you more than $20 a month all put together. Okay, developing the message. And you might be jotting down some notes right now, but what do you sell? And you might have a different message for selling chickens or eggs than you would have for selling a calf or pigs. So you're going to be thinking about what you sell, what benefits your buyers will experience when they buy from you. Okay, so we've talked some about organic. So people are buying organic because it is going to be free of some of those chemicals they're trying to avoid. And it might also be that they want to benefit the entire area ecology by helping organic farmers survive and put that land to better use than these the commodity producers with their economies of scale. So how are you different or better than the competition, and how will customers find you? And that last one is one that I think people sometimes miss. There's advertising and stuff that goes on that doesn't help us as customers find you, the producer or seller. So that is got to be part of that message. And that message might just be on a business card, it might be on signage, it might be on your tags. I'll share with you. I went to it was a Christmas bazaar and bought some awesome homemade blackberry syrup from a gal from Grangeville who was making this wonderful pancake syrup. And it was an awesome price, everything. And I bought 2 bottles, and I got home and went through my Christmas list and decided I wanted to buy 10 more bottles of her syrup. Nowhere on her receipt, on her label, on anything could I find contact information for her. I looked on the internet, you know, I could not find anything. And but I did track her down. I knew the person who organized the show, and I went through her and found contact information so I could buy my 10 more bottles of syrup, and I was a very happy customer. So yeah, having people be able to contact you. So also in your message, you want it to be inspirational. And if you are in small farm agriculture, you probably have a story. And I encourage people to write out that story and have it on their web page. Yeah, inspirational. So when you're working at honing that message down, though, in terms of advertising, they talk about 140 characters or less. Is it understandable, emotional, and memorable? Yeah, you want to inspire your customers to become loyal customers and to want to buy your products at your prices. So successful salespeople, ooh, I'm getting out of time, aren't I? Boy, I kind of went on about that, didn't I? So a little bit about customer salespeople making close attention to their customers. And I know Diana's going to talk about that some more, so I don't need to spend a lot of time on it. But I want to tell you that there are only 3 ways to make more money in a small business. Sell more stuff by increasing volume, cut your costs of doing business, and raise your prices. So 3 ways. So are you going to be able to sell more, cut your costs, or raise your prices? And is that going to work? So there is only one success, and that is to be able to spend your life in your own way. And now I'm going to ask for questions.